Have you ever noticed the older we get, the quieter we become? The phone calls that used to happen every week start to fade. Friends who once felt like family become nothing more than names in our memory. The places we used to visit so often now feel strangely unfamiliar. But the scary part isn't the change itself, it's that we don't know why it's happening. No one really talks about it. It's not just weaker health. It's not just aching joints or fading memory. Something much deeper shifts quietly inside us, gently pulling us inward, little by little, until the world around us becomes unusually quiet. If you've ever felt this way, or seen a loved one going through it, please remember, you're not alone, and there's nothing wrong with you. At Life in Words, we tell real-life stories, gently woven with research and science, to help you live longer, live healthier, and most importantly, live more connected. If you care about aging in a positive and human way, subscribe to our channel now. Because each week, we share small insights that can transform your life, or the life of someone you love. You deserve a warm, connected, and meaningful old age, not a lonely one. And no matter your age, life still holds so much worth connecting to. Many older adults are experiencing a quiet shift. There's no alarm bell, no clear warning. Just one day, they realize they're speaking less, meeting people less, and feeling more alone. It's not that they don't care about others. It's not that they don't want connection. Something invisible is slowly pulling them away from their circles, day by day, hour by hour. We often think the cause is physical, illness, age, mobility issues. But the truth is, there are deeper psychological reasons, ones even they may struggle to name. And because no one talks about it, older people may start to believe it's their fault, that they're becoming outdated, invisible, or no longer relevant. The truth is, this is a common, natural phenomenon, and it's something we can understand and even reverse if we take the time to look more deeply into what's really going on inside. In today's video, we'll explore a rarely discussed but incredibly important topic: 6 psychological reasons why older adults start to withdraw from social life. This is a natural process many of us go through as we age. But not everyone understands what's truly behind it. You may have noticed a loved one, or even yourself, pulling back, joining fewer social activities. It's not always due to physical limitations, but subtle psychological changes that often go unnoticed. While it may be part of aging, feelings like comparing oneself to who we once were, or believing we're no longer valuable in the eyes of others, these are powerful emotional forces rarely talked about. Today, we'll share these insights with you to help you better understand yourself, your loved ones, and find ways to move through this chapter with greater awareness and connection. A. Social comparison. One of the key reasons older adults gradually withdraw from social interactions is the tendency to compare themselves, either to who they once were or to the younger people around them. Aging often comes with noticeable physical and energy-related changes. When they look at old photos or reflect on who they used to be, they can't help but notice the difference. Someone who was once active and confident may now feel tired and fragile. These changes affect not only the body, but also have a deep psychological impact. In many cases, older individuals feel they no longer fit into social gatherings or lively conversations. They compare themselves to the younger generation and feel less relevant, less energetic, or less appealing than before. This leads to a loss of confidence and a growing reluctance to interact with others. They're afraid that the visible differences in their physical abilities or energy levels will make them feel ignored or even dismissed in social settings. As a result, many choose to step back, gradually distancing themselves from close relationships. They want to avoid confronting the discomfort of aging and change. Although this is a natural response, these constant comparisons can easily lead to loneliness and social isolation, without realizing that they still have value and can connect with others in meaningful new ways. B. Perceived lack of value beyond comparing themselves to who they once were. Another significant reason older adults withdraw from social life is a deep sense of no longer being useful. One of the biggest shifts with aging is a change in social roles. In our younger years, we are closely tied to work, family, and social responsibilities. But after retirement or stepping away from daily routines, the feeling of not contributing can chip away at self-esteem. This feeling often intensifies when older adults are no longer part of regular social gatherings. They may believe they no longer have much to offer in conversations or group activities. Questions like, "What do I even have to say?" can begin to surface. When they are no longer in active roles within the family or community, they might feel unneeded, and this perceived lack of relevance can cause them to pull away from relationships. This loss of confidence makes them feel like a burden in conversations or social settings. They don't want to intrude or take up space, and eventually, they isolate themselves. But the truth is, this belief is misleading. Older adults still bring tremendous value through their stories, experiences, and wisdom, even if they're no longer working or fulfilling the same roles as before. C. Fear of rejection. Another major psychological reason older people withdraw from social life is the fear of rejection. As we age, our social circles often shrink, and feelings of loneliness can creep in. Especially after retirement or stepping away from once active lifestyles, reconnecting socially can feel daunting. This leads to an inner anxiety. Who would want to see me? Am I still welcome? Fear of rejection is a powerful emotion, especially for those who have gone through physical or life changes. Many older adults feel they're no longer vibrant or interesting enough to join social events or hold conversations. They fear that reaching out to friends might be met with silence, dismissal, or the sense of being a bother. It's a very human fear, but one that often drives people further into isolation. Every attempt at interaction becomes a moment of anxiety. Will they want me there? They dread being left out or not being invited, which only deepens the loneliness. So instead of risking rejection, they choose silence. And when their days are no longer filled with work or activities, their chances of casual connection drop, fueling the fear even more. However, avoiding these opportunities because of fear only intensifies loneliness and self-doubt. Taking small social risks and reaching out again can be the very thing that helps older adults overcome that fear. Yes, there may be moments of rejection, but each effort is a step toward reconnecting with others. Sometimes, it's the persistence and courage to try again that make all the difference. D. Negative past experiences. Another psychological factor that cannot be overlooked is the impact of negative past experiences, especially emotional wounds or loss that many older adults have endured. Painful experiences such as betrayal, the death of close friends, or family conflicts can leave deep scars. And when faced with these emotional echoes, reconnecting with others can become incredibly difficult. Past relationships may have caused pain, leading to hesitation and fear when it comes to forming new ones. If these old wounds haven't healed or been processed, they can quietly linger, blocking the path to new connections. Some older adults might believe that opening up again will only lead to more disappointment, so they protect themselves by closing off and staying away from others. This doesn't just apply to friendships or family. It affects how they engage in social settings. They might avoid family gatherings or social events simply because they stir up memories they'd rather not revisit. The feelings of loss and regret weigh heavily, discouraging them from putting themselves in situations that may trigger those old emotions. However, these emotions are part of the healing journey. When we confront and process these painful memories, we open the door to reconnection. Understanding that past wounds don't define us and choosing to move forward can help older adults re-engage with the world in a healthier, less fearful way. Loss of social skills. Another key reason older adults begin to withdraw from social relationships is the gradual loss of social skills. As we age, we no longer participate in vibrant social activities the way we used to. Over time, social encounters become less frequent, and the lack of these interactions can cause our communication skills to fade, or even disappear altogether. When you're no longer engaging in conversations regularly, especially with new people or in complex social settings, your ability to communicate can become dull. Small talk or casual greetings that once felt effortless can start to feel exhausting. Older adults may find themselves feeling anxious in social situations they once handled with ease, like attending family gatherings, group meetings, or reunions with old friends. This can lead them to avoid social settings altogether, as the pressure and discomfort of interacting with others becomes more than they want to deal with. Simple greetings or brief chats suddenly feel like daunting challenges rather than enjoyable moments of connection. The loss of social skills is a gradual process, one that often goes unnoticed at first. But it becomes a vicious cycle. The less you socialize, the harder it becomes to reconnect with others. As a result, feelings of loneliness and isolation deepen. The good news is, with a little patience and practice, older adults can rebuild their communication skills. Starting with small, easy conversations and gradually participating in more social situations can help restore confidence and reconnect them with those around them. Lower threshold for emotional energy. As we grow older, one of the most noticeable changes is our emotional energy. Older adults often have a lower threshold for emotional stimulation than they did in their younger years, and this greatly affects how they interact with others. In youth, it's easier to attend social events, travel, meet friends, and take part in large gatherings without feeling drained. But with age, our emotional energy tends to diminish. Many older adults find themselves feeling tired and emotionally exhausted after social interactions, not because of physical strain, but because the emotional toll feels overwhelming. Long conversations and complex social exchanges can leave them mentally and emotionally fatigued. As a result, they may avoid these situations in order to protect their inner peace. This often leads to decreased participation in social activities. In some cases, being alone may even feel more comforting and secure than having to face unpredictable conversations or emotional demands. The uncertainty of navigating emotional needs in a fast-paced world can easily cause them to withdraw from social interactions altogether. But this doesn't mean older adults must live in loneliness. Acknowledging and accepting this change is the first step toward managing emotional energy more effectively. By sharing their feelings with loved ones, choosing low-pressure social activities, and seeking support when needed, they can regain a sense of vitality and openness to connect again. Conclusion: rebuilding connection. Everything is possible. As you've seen, the psychological reasons older adults tend to withdraw from social connections are far from unusual. They're a natural part of aging, but that doesn't mean loneliness and isolation have to be the end of the story. In fact, with understanding and small intentional steps, social connections can absolutely be rebuilt, not just once more, but deeper and more meaningful than ever before. So how do you step outside the shell of loneliness and rediscover relationships that bring joy? The answer starts with yourself, by recognizing these psychological patterns and gently working through them, one by one. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. You have the power to take charge of your emotions and walk the path back toward meaningful relationships. If you're still watching this video, don't forget to leave a comment below and share your thoughts with us. Have you ever felt this way? Or do you know someone going through this kind of withdrawal? Share your story so we can all learn from one another and offer strength and support. And don't forget, if you'd like to learn more simple but powerful ways to rebuild lost connections and bring warmth back into your life, hit that subscribe button to Life in Words today. Every week, we'll share inspiring stories and science-backed tips to help you live longer, live healthier, and most importantly, live more fully with the people around you. Let's take one step at a time and together rediscover the precious connections that make life worth living.